Hey guys, AnimeWestReacts. Here's some reaction to Owari no Seraph, chapter 114. So yeah, hope y'all enjoyed this reaction. So, chapter title is Everyone's Goals. So yeah, sorry about that. Needed to see what the title was. But yeah, so chapter starts off after the end of the last one. You saying, tell us, Gurn, what's the big plan of yours? What's our ultimate goal? What price are we gonna have to pay, and how will it curse us? So we go over to Rigger. He says, what are you plotting? What ultimate goal do you strive for? To the first, who says, you know that already. If you don't, you couldn't interfere as thoroughly as you have. So yeah, he says, you want to bring Michaela back to life. He was your son. And then Rigger first goes silent. And then Rigger says, I was a guinea pig to you at first, wasn't I? Potential body to house Michaela, so was Erd. You're trying to create a doll strong enough that it could hold your dead son's soul, but I was a failure. Erd was a failure. You moved on to the next generation, but Leskar, Cruel, they were all failures. At that point, you changed tactics. You promised us eternal life, but then you discarded us without a second thought. And you've held a grudge ever since. And then Rigger says, good question. You gave us eternal life as promised. We needed some reason to keep living it after all. The days become so boring otherwise. Ages ago, when I was still tailing you, I found something. Kyoto, Japan. And so yeah, he says, you founded a human organization, the Emperor Demons. It was ostensibly a religious sect, but they were conducting experiments on turning vampires into demons. And then yeah, first says, I know you promptly began to interfere. You injected your own gene into the Ichinose family and founded a competing organization. That I did, the Hyakuya sect. Did you notice the little barb I hid in that name? Hyakuya, it means 100 nights. 100 nights for us, 1,000 nights, 1,000,000 meaningless nights spent by us after you abandoned us. And so yeah, verse says, I didn't notice, I didn't even bother. First and foremost, nothing in this world means anything. And then yeah, Rigger smirks and then reaches his hand into the cage and grabs his throat. Grabs the first throat and says, are you kidding me? If everything's meaningless, why the single-minded determination to bring your son back? Don't you drag us into your problem. Thanks to you, we've no reason to live, yet no way to die. What are we supposed to do, And then Erd says, Rigger. And then, yeah. The first says, become independents for once. And then Rigger laughs and says, independent of your machinations. You were quick enough to take advantage of my Hyakuya sect. Even now I'm trapped within your grand plan, and I'm sick of it. And then yeah, Kai Luck, that's his name. Says Blue Blood. What? And yeah, forgot his name. I remember Kai Luck, and then there's the other one who says, Kai says, what is the first anyway? He's no vampire, right? And then the first says, you've already cut yourself free of my strings, just look at me. You have me bound and imprisoned. And then, yeah, he throws the chains out from his blood, or from his hand, and he goes, gah. And Rigger says, shut your mouth. All that ever comes out of it are lies. I'll ask the questions here. You answer them, nothing more. One day, I noticed an anomaly in what I thought was my organization. An orphanage has suddenly been added. The Hyakuya orphanage. I looked into it. Looking into it, I found it was experimenting on and killing thousands of human children. One day, several decades later, a certain boy appeared on its doorstep. He had a familiar face and a familiar name. Hi, I'm Michaela. So yeah, Mika. And then, yeah. Rigger says, what is he? Did you finally find a vessel up to your standards? Were your preparations for his resurrection finally complete? And the first says, if you hadn't interrupted, Mahiru Shinoa, I tamper with them all. And he says, yes, what you accounted for, even planned on. And then, he says, I'm not God. And then Rigger says, I can't trust you. And then the first says, listen to me. We have mutual interests. And then, seemingly, blows a hole in his head, it looks like. And Rigger says, I can't trust you. And then you just see blood everywhere. And he says, vampires cannot die. They become demons with no will of their own. They're condemned to a hell of eternal reliance on human desire. But if you listen to me, and then he says, Gah. Yeah, they're all like holding their heads. Because he's like speaking directly to their minds now. And then, Kai, or Rigger throws up a bunch of talismans and says, let's break that brainwashing spell. And so, the chain falls down, and then the first says, well, you aren't a normal vampire anymore, are you? And then Rigger says, I took advantage of an organization you created as well. Your Emperor demons and their spellcraft, light spells, demons' curses, blood magic, and control of the divine punishment. In order to weaponize the Seraph of the End. But who does that punishment come from? And considering your wings, you almost seem angelic. Where did you come from, Who is chasing you? Who and what are you? And then, Rigger says, your goal is to bring your son, Michaela, back to life. If he's your son, he must be the same species as you. I can't say if you're an angel or a demon, but I do know reviving one would take an unimaginably large price. One so large, other angels would punish the attempt. I don't think we can allow that to happen. You did make us vow to maintain world order for eternity. We're bound to uphold that vow, right, Erd? And then Rigger says, the world has already been destroyed quite enough, I think. We can't let the angels come and punish it further. And then the first says, nothing will happen to the world. And then he says, the price is 7 sinful keys and the lives of every last vampire. And then he says, oh, mutual interest, huh? And he's like, aren't you all about ready to die? You ought to be bored of living by now. Rigger then laughs and says, aha, I see, is that what it is? And all the chains come out of the back and seem wrap or shred the first. And he's like, finally found the true meaning for my life. I think I don't want him to ever get his wish. And then Rigger says, sorry everyone, I come back for the first time in ages and now I have to make a selfish demand. And then Earth says, when have you not made selfish demands of us? And says, we can't trust his words. Something could happen to the world. There's no guarantee that we'll properly die if we listen to him. Thus, we'll need to stay alive for now, stop Michaela's resurrection, and stabilize the world. We'll search for a way for us to finally die, I promise. Can I ask you all to trust me in this? And then, Rigger puts his hand out. And then Erd says, you needn't do it alone. We'll protect world's order together. And so, then they all put their hands out. And so, next one says, welcome home, Lord Rigger. And then Kai says, well, if Lord Erd is going with it. And then, Rigger says, we'll find our own way to die. Now let's interrogate him thoroughly. So, they going to torture the first now to get information. Then we go back to Gurren and Yu says, tell us. And then, so before he can answer, they reach their destination, because Ferret says, everyone, we're here. And then, yeah, they get out, and then Yoichi says, Akihabara. And then Guren's like, you said when we got where we're going, we'd talk. Well, we're here. Now what's going on and what's here? And then Guren says, we're going underground. In an elevator is what Yu says, and he says, yeah. What's down there? You'll see. Or yeah, Guren says, yeah. Then he says, Yu says, what's down there? Guren says, you'll see. Then he says, you'll talk when we get there, right? Yu says that. And then Guren says, yeah. And then he's like, okay, let's go. Like, right now, quick. And we got Mika who says, hey, Cruel. Did you come along with us because you and Guren have mutual interests? And then Guren says, yes. And then Mika says, and Farid, do you have some kind of deal with him? And then he says, I can't speak, or Cruel says, I can't speak for that, or can't speak for that loon, no, but if he's here, then he must, don't you think? And then Mika says, Cruel, and it's just like kind of a dark panel, and then she says, what? And Mika says, do your interests align with ours? And then she just says, Michaela, would you want to live forever so badly that you'd be willing to sacrifice your family? And then Mika says, no. And then she says, then our goal is the same. And she walks off. Alright, and so everyone's in the elevator, and then got Mitsuba saying, boy, this is tight. How many floors down are we going? And then she looks at the elevator, it says 7, 15, and then she's like, the 15th. And it pings on the 15th floor. And then he was like, whoa, what is this place? It's huge. Coffins, countless coffins, and then, yeah. There's like arrows pointing different directions, says for Mitsuba, for Yoichi, for you, for Michaela. And he says, he's like, what's this? And then, yeah, Guren says, you'll see when we get there. And, yeah, he was like, oh, then let's get going. And so, yeah, they reach the coffins. You see Mitsuba looking at it, and then she's like, what? And then she's like, no, Dad, Mom. And then, yeah, Yoichi's like, my sister. And so, yeah, you see all the kids probably, and because Yuichiro says everyone, and then Kimitsuki says, well, what's the price for this? And then Guren says, there isn't one price for bringing back the world, there are 3. One of the 5 people involved is getting off the spell. 1 will be cursed with eternal life. 2, 7 sinful keys are needed. 3, the lives of every last vampire must be offered in sacrifice. With those 3 things, we can bring back all the humans who died. And then, yeah. He's like, wait, hold on. How's this work then? I mean, Mika's a demon now, and Farid and Cruel are gonna die too. And then Guren says, yeah, but they want to die. Only one person here might have a conflict of interest. And he points at him and he says, that is you. And then he's like, me? And he says, Michaela isn't human. He's Shikamaru's son. Price to resurrect him is the same as what it takes to bring back all of humanity. That means we're stuck with a choice. Do we bring back everyone's family, or do we bring back him alone? And so, yeah, he's like, oh, what? Wait a second, then. Here in front of all their coffins, decide. Will you resurrect everyone's families, or will you give them up as dead forever and save only the friend at your side? And then, yeah, Yuichi's like, what? And then Kimitsuki says, so that's what it is. Or so that's what this is. Shinoa says Yuichiro, and then Mika says you. And Guren says, you, I think of you as my family. Want to bring your family and Akane and the other orphan kids back to life. I choose humanity. And then Guren's like, wait, give me a minute. And then someone says, but. Yeah, and then he says, if you choose Michaela alone, then that makes you our enemy. Everyone pay close attention to you and then choose. Pick who you will fight for. And then he says, yeah, Yoichi's like, no, you. So, yeah, everyone's saying you. Mika's like, I'm okay, let's bring Connie and the kids back. And then he's like, Mika, be my sword. So, yeah, I mean, good choice. And he grins like, everyone restrain him. And so yeah, the chapter ends with Yuichiro choosing Mika over everyone, basically. But yeah, good chapter. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you do, then make sure to leave a like, comment on the video, subscribe for more anime reaction reviews and manga reviews, and I'll see y'all next time. So yeah.